everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Baking with Becca. This month I'm going to show you how to make biscotti. Biscotti is a really delicious Italian type cookie that is known for being twice baked. That's pretty much all biscotti means. It just means it's a cookie that's baked twice. So without further ado, let's get started. Here's the list of ingredients you'll need to make this biscotti recipe. Don't worry about writing them all down because the recipe sheet will be attached in the post description. To begin this recipe, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Next, toast 1/3 cup of slivered almond in your preheated oven for about 10 minutes or until golden brown. Make sure to mix halfway through. Set aside until later. Next, you'll need the zest of 1 orange. Try to just get the zest off the top layer, not the white layer underneath. That part is called the pith and it's pretty bitter, so we don't want that flavor in our dough. Set that aside for later. Now we're ready to make our dough. In a large mixing bowl, add 1 stick of melted butter and 1 cup of sugar. Beat on a high speed until the butter and sugar are light in color and nice and fluffy. As with all baked goods, don't forget to scrape down the sides of your bowl so that the mixture is as even as possible. After mixing one more time to fully incorporate the butter and sugar, you'll add in 2 eggs and 1 teaspoon of almond extract. Mix again on medium to high speed until the eggs are fully incorporated. Scrape down the sides of your bowl, then we'll finish adding the rest of our ingredients. Add in the zest from your orange, 3½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and your toasted slivered almonds. Gently stir the mixer around to prevent the flour from puffing up, then mix on a medium-high speed until fully incorporated. The dough is going to look crumbly like this, but that's perfect for shaping. If the dough is too wet, you'll have a really hard time shaping it without it all sticking to your fingers. Grab a medium-sized cookie sheet and cover it with parchment paper. Scrape the dough from the sides of your bowl, then try to get it together in the bowl before you turn it out onto the pan. It makes it a little easier to shape because it's already together. Gently turn the dough out onto your cookie sheet. If you have bits of stray cookie dough on your sheet, you can take the rest of the dough and simply press it against it to absorb it into the rest. To shape our biscotti dough, we want it to look somewhere between a log and a loaf. It should be flat around the top so that it bakes evenly and about 10 by 3 inches. Try to shape your dough as evenly as possible before baking because this dough doesn't spread out much, so it will keep that shape during the baking process. Now it's into the preheated oven for about 35 minutes or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. Let your finished loaf cool on the cookie sheet for about 15 minutes after baking, then slide the parchment paper off the cookie sheet for slicing. Your slice size preference may vary, but we're looking for about 1/2-inch slices cut diagonally. Now let's slide the parchment back onto the cookie sheet and arrange our biscotti slices. Bake for 15 minutes on the first side, then flip to the other side and bake for another 15 or until they're a nice crisp golden brown color. When your biscotti is done baking, put a cooling rack on the counter and gently slide your parchment off of your cookie sheet and onto the cooling rack. Then you can carefully slide the parchment out from under the biscotti. And here it is, our almond and orange biscottis, all golden and brown and fresh out the oven. This is one of my favorite flavor combinations because it's so bright and fresh, but you can always try adding in something like white chocolate, dried cranberries, maybe even drizzle some chocolate on top to jazz it up. Look at that. It's nice and crispy. It's got a good crunch to it. Ready? Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for in our cookie. And to pair with it, I just have some fresh coffee here because there's nothing better than coffee and biscotti. So I'm gonna do a little dunk and give it a try. Yum. The fresh orange is really the perfect touch for these. Extract just doesn't do it. Yum, I hope you enjoy.